Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Yesterday we had a pretty awesome outdoor climbing day, a pretty cool outdoor climbing day, literally. It was super cold, but the sun was shining, and it was just about warm enough to have a good time. Today the weather is back to usual, grey, super cold, wet, pretty disgusting to be honest. And that means we're gonna hit the gym. We are going to try some pretty hard project boulders today, I think at least. Let's see what the fitness says. And after that I would like to do a little gym session, a bit of body strength, and since the hangboarding rest week is over now, it's also time to start a new hangboarding cycle, and today is going to be the first session of this. So let's see if some gains occurred. So sweet. No coffee necessary, my friends. Alright, since I'm not entirely sure if I will survive the bike ride today, I think it's going to be public transport again. And yeah, see you on the subway. Welcome back to the climbing gym, my friends. Today I wanted to share some quick tips and tricks about how to approach a boulder problem which is hard, close to one's limit, so to say. You know, things like which sequences to try first, getting the specific grip strength into your fingers, character of the problem, and so on and so forth. I'm completing my warm-up on the 45er right now. As you guys already know, being warmed up properly is important, especially when it comes to trying hard stuff afterwards. The problem on which I'm going to demonstrate those strategies is actually a low start extension of one of my training boulders, and thus called the Lowstart Project. So this thing should range somewhere in the 7C, 7C plus category, which is admittedly not super hard, but it consists of some pretty weird, kind of interesting moves, which is why I wanted to show you this problem in a little more detail. First, I want to be sure that my holes are clean, especially the crux holes. They are not the freshest, and especially the slopers start to get more and more greasy with time. I think the holes will be exchanged soon. Once the holes are clean, I get my hands on them, just grabbing them as hard as I can from the ground in order to get the specific grip strength for this problem into my fingers. Also, simulating the moves a bit. I find this is a very important step, especially if the hard moves are right at the start and if they are close to your limit. Here you can see the crux holes, the left of the two, and actually this is a quite okay undercling, but when you come from the low start, it's this really bad mixture between a crimp and a pinch. Really interesting hold. As you can see, I keep grabbing them, and during that process I could literally feel how my fingers get more and more adapted to these holds. And when I have the feeling I'm ready, I start trying the first single moves, and here you should put some thought into the character of your boulder. Can you subdivide it into different sequences? In my case, the boulder consists of a lower, a middle and an upper sequence, whereas both the lower and the upper sequence contain a crux, the lower one being harder. So So the next step is to climb the isolated sequences to get especially the upper crux, which is the crux of the stand start, into my muscle memory, because I really don't want to fall there should I get there from the bottom. And since the lower start is the hardest of the sit start and comes first, I'll wait with that one until I feel secure with the rest. If this was a super important outdoor project, I would not do what I do next. I climbed the stand start just for the hell of it basically. I felt strong and I was like, I can afford an additional burn. But actually this costs essential energy for the whole thing, and thus it is a questionable approach. On the other hand, you can also see it as an investment into even better muscle memory for the upper crux. So at this point I knew, should I get there, I probably would not mess it up, which was quite convenient to have in the back of my mind. Alright, onto the low start. It basically consists of that big lock-off move out of this hook onto the crux hold, and then, which is the hardest move of the whole boulder, the match to the edge on the right. After that, you switch your left hand into undercling and do some footwork until you basically arrive in the stand start, and from there on you're in survival mode. Although I still couldn't do the hardest move, I felt that I was quite close to it, so I repeated the upper crux one more time to be sure to have it in my muscle memory, went for a piss and gave it a shot.